It's Tuesday, live at 5, and I made it. I do have the dogs behind me. Kirk is not home, so we're going to cross our fingers that 1, Elsie doesn't get sick, and 2, that they don't bark and go crazy when Kirk comes home. So, anyway, today we are going to do book stacks, and of course they're a very popular thing. And when I started chalking, the big thing was to paint old books. I thought, oh, this is great, can't wait to do this. Well, I painted like 2 books and thought, you know what, these are really cute and everything, but it's not my thing. But then you think, we have all this scrap wood, what can we do with it? Well, you figure out it makes a book stack. So, I was out this weekend in the shop with Kirk and just kind of checking on his projects and what he was working on, and he happened to be building a piece of furniture. And so when I notice that he's doing that, I always look around and see what's left over. So, wood scraps. So they became my books. So these are actually, each one is 5 1/4 inches by 3 1/2 by 1 1/4, which with the stencils that I'm using, which just happen to be the rolling pin stencils, and I'm using the Valentine ones, they're going to be perfect for this. Hi, Crystal. Oh, I love those nails, Crystal. Oh, they're so fantastic. But you know me, mine are always full of chalk paste. So anyway, so I have my wood boards. I painted them. This time I used an acrylic paint. I usually use a white chalk paint. And again, we do chalk paint because we do furniture and we have it around. And you know what? Walmart sells it. It's really not too bad. You can buy it in different size bottles. And I just prefer to chalk on it. However, this is acrylic and acrylics are absolutely fine. So I did paint this with my acrylics and then clear coated it. And I always let my clear coat dry for at least 24 hours. And the reason that I do that is so that one, the paint's not going to pull up because it's clear coated, and 2, by letting it dry that long, then I know that my clear coat isn't going to pull up on my stencils. So yeah, so that's what I've got going on there. Now, we know that I have used these stencils for many things because we've done the rolling pins, we've done our conversation hearts, and I can't even remember what else. So they are well loved. So I'm not going to have to really, I don't have a lot of sticky left on them, so I really don't have to fuzz them very much. So I'm just gonna take a look at this, and I'm gonna pull this way over to the edge. Now, you can glue, oops, I'm a little high. Let's move down on that. That looks better. Now I forgot what I was saying. Oh, you can, hi, Marty. Marty's my new friend. I met her today. It's cool. So anyway, like I was saying, that I chose to leave these individual right now, and I'll actually glue them together. But if you want to glue them together ahead of time, that works too. So I'm going to go ahead and put these on. I've got Kiss Me. And then, of course, I have my Hugs and Kisses. Put that on. And again, I'm just kind of feeling where that's going to go. I don't think I'm quite over. Let's see. Ooh, I really went over on that one. I want them to line up the best I possibly can. I really went over with that. I didn't realize that. Okay. Do we have it? See, now Marty doesn't believe me that I have chalk paste on the hands like all the time. But those of you that have been around, you know, I'm infamous for chalk paste and everything. Although when I inked yesterday, woohoo, I did not get ink on that t-shirt. So that was a score. All right, and then I've got, and we're not straight. Come on, let's try that again. See how that wasn't sticky? It was really easy to pull up. And again, that's just because these stencils are very well loved. I've used them a lot. And so I really haven't needed to fuzz them any more than I did the first time because I'm using them over and over again. Now, let's see. We're going to use Old Glory Red. We have Candy Apple Red, and we also have an Old Glory Red. I just prefer Old Glory Red because to me it's a deeper red. It's more on the blue, red-blue end of the spectrum and not as quite fire engine red like I think the Candy Apple Red is. So I'm just going to stir this, make sure, oh, nice, nice. Now, what I have been finding with some of our new pastes as I get them, notice my stick is standing up. So I know that I've got a good consistency here, but I also know it's getting kind of dry. So I want to keep an eye on that. When I first got this jar and I opened it up, I was finding that it was a little bit on the runny side. I mean, not like you could pour it like milk or anything, but I noticed that when I used it, it was seeping out underneath my stencils just a little bit, but enough to bother me. And so I actually left this open to dry. So what I did is I left it open for about an hour, came back and stirred, left it out an hour, came back and stirred until it got to the consistency that I wanted. And like I said, is that yogurt consistency, but I like it a little bit on the drier side, but not too much. It's kind of a, sometimes you just have to guess, but you figure it out as you go along. So let's do Love You first. I'm just going to get some on there. There we go. Right down my book, and I'm just going to get that excess off. I have a lot of chalk paste. And yes, I set that aside without pulling it off because these are so small that I know I'm going to get these all, oh, come on. I know that I'm going to get these all, get that off, get off my excess. I know I'm going to get all of this off before it dries on them. You have to move quickly, but usually if you can get this done within 2 minutes. Oh, I went really high on that one. So I'm going to step my stencil aside and I'm going to kick myself because red really stains your stencils. And these are stained. Okay, yeah. You know what? I'm going to show you this because this happens and I want you to know why. Look at the M on me. And you see how that seeped out just a little bit? It could be two things. One, that my chalk paste is a little bit on the runnier side. And the other piece could be that I just didn't get my stencil down and really get those pieces where the lettering are put down. And then the other thing I want to show you is that when I was putting these together, this first one I went really high. Now I could go and wash this off and redo it. The reason I clear coated this is because it's white and it's white acrylic paint. And if I just did I Love You and then washed it off, you'd see a shadow of I Love You. Now the good part about that is usually I can use my dry stencil sponge. And the stencil sponge is like flat on one side and then there's like little, what do I want to say, little bumps on the other side. If I wiped this off and dried it and it had that shadowing, if I use this dry, I can just go back and forth on it like an eraser and most likely get it out. There's some surfaces that I haven't been able, I've actually had to go and repaint a surface. So that's why I started just clear coating everything. But the biggest thing with clear coat, again, is let it dry and make sure it is perfectly dry. And in fact, I wait 24 hours. There was one time I didn't, and I think I waited a half an hour. I ruined my stencil because I pulled the clear coat right off my board. So that happens too. Let's see, I'm going to dry these really quick to make sure they're dry. Now I used a heat gun. You don't have to. You can use a hair dryer. So save your money. Don't spend extra if you don't need to. I'm going to use, this is Rapid Fuse. It's by DAP. It's the same as Gorilla Glue and Crazy Glue. So I'm just going to glue these boards together. Come on. Oh, I've been using this a lot. We'll make sure that I, come on. See, now the one thing that I do is I get really impatient and then I start messing around with something before it's actually dry. So I decided to catch myself today. Hi, Marilyn. I decided to catch myself today and I thought, you know what? I'm going to glue that together and I'm going to start messing around with it and the books are going to move. So, haha, I have something to keep Lynn busy while it dries so I don't mess it up. Magnolia Design Coach just came out, which is called a pyrography marker or a pyro pen. So here's the deal with this. Just like when you get your chalk markers, it comes and it's clear. Mine's not going to be clear. Okay, so it's yellow. And so what happens is you're going to have to shake, 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 and get that down to your tip. So it's actually kind of a yellow orange. And what I did was, this is actually a little cut out heart. I believe I purchased these on Amazon. I sanded that surface, made sure I didn't have any more of the sanding dust on it, and I put my stencil on here. And then all I'm going to do is take my pen. You're getting a 2-for-1 here today. You know, we're doing books and we're using the pyrography pen. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw over my letters here. And I could actually color them a little bit. Make sure I get all of it. And yes, I did try this once before, so I know it's not going to ruin my stencil. Oops, I've got little areas that I'm not getting. I'm going to tell you that the yellow on unstained wood is kind of hard to see. So let's see if we get this over here. Just double checking a couple areas, make sure that I have it. Okay, cover back on my pen. I'm going to take that off. And look, you can't even tell that I did it, right? Doesn't look like anything. In fact, I'm wondering if I got enough on this one. I did really thin letters, and I'm going to be honest with you, it was like really hard to see. So we'll see. Now I'm going to take my heat gun, and I'm just going to go over this. And you can see, I'm going to stop. You can see it's starting to get a little bit brown. And I'm also seeing where I probably needed to go back over my stencil a little bit more. I'm still learning. I'm still playing. But this at least gives you kind of an idea. Here my E is really good. Oh yeah, I need to go over this much more. So you can see it's getting a darker brown. Okay, yeah, we're going to focus on that E because the E is where it's at. So here we are. We're getting a little... Hey, Allison! I was talking about West Virginia today, Allison. I miss my home among the hills. Okay, so I'm going to just focus on the E because that really is where it is, the E and B mine. So it eventually will turn black. So again, what I didn't do was with these really thin letters, I needed to go over that many more times with my Pyro pen. It is a really light yellow on this natural wood. It's hard. It's really hard to see it. But I will say, you don't want to use the Pyro pen in the heat on a painted board because the paint will bubble. So you want to be careful with that. This is definitely something you don't want to let your kids use. And if you do, then you want to really... I know! Marty, isn't it neat? I wonder, I'm such an artist. Let's try this again. I'm going to draw a little heart down here. See, now I can see. It must be the stencil that makes it. Oh, I'm so artistic. This is a beautiful heart. Oops, I just messed it up. Okay, Lynn is definitely not a person who... I should have drawn a stick person, to tell you the truth. I'm wondering. Oh, I can see one little spot that I missed on here. Can you see that yellow better? See, and that's how that should have looked when I took my stencil off, and it didn't. So see what happens when you start playing? You just have a lot of fun, and you make mistakes, and move on, right? Try that again. Oh, yeah. Look how fast that turned, because I had more on there. So I definitely... Oh, come on. And there we go. We got it even, excuse me, darker. So really fun. But now I know when I go back over my stencils again, I was really worried about it bleeding. And I think I just need to not worry and really go over that more until I can see the yellow, because then I know I'm going to get something like the heart. So big difference between the two. All right, so that was a little bit fun with that. I'll practice some more and we'll come back and do it for real. Now, I have my book stack, right? And it's dry, at least I hope it's dry enough. Now this is a part, I have, look at this. I have like all these things laying here. Different kinds, ribbons, and I'm like, oh, what am I going to do on the top of these book stacks? I bought this a long time ago. But anyway, I decided I'm going to go really simple on this. But the other thing I could do, I don't know, maybe I will do it. We'll see. I'll ask you and you guys tell me, okay? So, how about I put my hearts on the top? And then the baker's twine, or am I going overboard? What do you think? Overboard, do it. You know what? I don't know. I'm going to do it. I love this hearts pattern. I'm going to do it. And if it's too much, we'll just wash it off. So I'm going to turn this so I can go this way. It's easier for me to see what I'm doing. Okay, so far today, I don't think I had that on there flat enough. Well, we'll cover it with baker's twine. Oops. I'm I have all these random red stains all over my little big heart stencil. Okay, I got off all my excess. There it goes. She got paste on her fingers, of course. And I'm just going to take that. Oh, I did smear. I had the feeling. I had just this one spot, and I didn't feel like it was, yeah, Marty, I did. So this one spot right here, the reason that happened is because when I put that stencil on, I don't know if you noticed, I didn't really make sure it was on tight. And in that one little spot, I had a little bit of an air bubble there. And so when I went over it with that squeegee, it just pushed it right out from underneath the stencil. Now, this is something I'm just making for fun. Normally, I would go back and the perfectionist in me would go back and redo the whole thing. I'm not going to do that for the sake of our time and just getting this piece done. And of course, it couldn't happen on this side where I am going to put the baker's twine. So, oops, I've got to dry that. I like it. Thank you, Marty. I'm glad I did that. It's cute. I like it. I like it. What I am going to do, though, okay. Normally, I have toothpicks down here with me because I can pick off little things. I'm going to try one of my little stir sticks. I'm there, Marty, thank you. And so I'm just going to take off. This came a little bit more over the side than I wanted. Oh, you know what? Hey, this is good. This is good. I'm actually, you know what? I'm actually going to take all that off because, now I may mess this up because my sponge is so big, but right here, you can see I was using my stir stick. I don't stir my paste with this, only my paint. But if I had had my toothpick, I probably could have done a better job of really getting that off. But this gives me an opportunity. Remember I told you that bumpy side? Okay, so I'm going to go in and very carefully, come on, very carefully try to, this is a really small space. I'm not gonna lie. This is not easy. Let me take just a, oh, she's got paint on her fingers. I'm gonna take just a little smidgen of my wipe there. There we go. Oops. See, now normally I probably would have messed something up. I wipe that off with my antibacterial wipe. Okay, so that makes it a little bit better. Now there's still a little bit red on there, so this is where I can use my dry sponge. And I did hit that other one. I knew I was going to do that. What I did was I hit this other piece, and because it's such a small piece, I knew I was going to do that. But this little red here is actually gone, and I did that using my stencil sponge. So, you know, it works. So is this beautiful? No, it's got lots of mistakes, but what I like about the mistakes is that then I can show you how to fix them. And so we fixed that, but in fixing it, of course, Lynn bumped it because, you know, that's what I do, right? It wouldn't be alive without having chalk paste all over my hands. So I'm going to set this up. That side may not be dry, but I don't want to sit here all night with you. And, well, I do. I could sit here all night with you. You probably don't want to sit here all night with me. So what I did was I'm basically taking my string and folding it in half. Am I getting it to the half? And then I went around the back of the book. And then when I come to the front, I'm just going to cross over as if I were tying shoes. And you can see I'm going to do that same thing in the back again. And I'm going to do this a few more times. Now, it's not all lining up, but I'm very okay with that because I'm not looking for perfection in this. And I'm just going to do this one. I'm just going to tie a bow if I can get it around my fat thumb. And you know what? I wasn't going for like the perfect little bow on this, but there you have. You just have your little book stack. And I'll go back and I'll fix my boo-boo. But just really super simple, and all it is scrap wood. So again, I'll tell you that scrap wood, and that just happened to be for this. Probably the most important part of that is this is 1 1/4 right here. For the stencils that you're using on rolling pins, that's the size you need, at least 1 1/4 inches. As far as, you know, your length and your width goes, or as Kirk would say, your depth. Thanks, I'm glad you like it. But, you know, it's gonna be good. And actually, I like the look of this on top. I could have brought my bow up and done it here as well. I just happen to want my bow on the side. If this was my red heart and not my white one, I could even set my heart on. I don't like the white on white, but you know, it just kind of gives you an idea. There's just so many ways. I could clip, you know, a part of my greens off and stick my greens, like my little pom-pom things. Aren't those cute? They're actually Christmas, but you know what? I like the red and white. So I could, you know, and actually, this is really long, but if I cut my rows off, I could actually stick my rows in there. However you want to do it, just be creative. Do whatever it is that you love to do and what you think looks great. And I can bet you somebody else is going to love it too. And just have fun. So I should be back tomorrow at 5. I think I lost my baby. Oh, I lost my babies. They were quiet. Yesterday they were wrestling in the back. I think they were probably much more entertaining than I was. So anyway, until tomorrow, happy chalking, and I'll see you tomorrow live at 5. See ya.